What's up, guys? Back here for a brand new video. Just completed the fantasy draft a few days ago, and this is going to be a little rundown of my promotion. Obviously, as you see up on the screen here, Wrestling League Supernova. If anybody remembers the first fantasy draft, that's also the name of the company I used then. I was actually originally going to do something different and go for Great Lakes and do something like a hardcore promotion, but that changed, and I just wanted to go for the juniors and stuff in Japan. That didn't work out so well. My top pick was originally going to be Magnum Kobe, but I had actually struck a deal with SWF Fan, and he was not going to take him, and he was the only one I was actually worried about, considering he is a junior promotion. But instead, the basically mainly heavyweight promotion that's based on realism and stuff, I think WWU or something like that, Dr. Macbeth's promotion, took him because I decided to take Kozu Kawashima as my first pick because of his star power and whatnot, and his overall pop was like 86 as opposed to Kobe's 73. So I messed up and I took him as my first pick. And so basically, that sucked, and I didn't end up with him, and he was gonna be one of the main people I based my promotion around. So after that pick, I kind of jumbled things up. I'm going to give you a look at my roster and my title belts, and then I'm going to run my first show. I'm actually going to show you guys booking it, just to see how I'm enjoying it so far. A couple of minor tweaks, obviously, when I started, but that's no big deal. Just had to set my referee's contract and stuff, but it happens. I'm not too worried about it. But here we go. I'll show you my roster. And here we go with my roster. We have, obviously, alphabetical order here. Akinori Kawakami, of course, of PGHW. He is mainly a tag team guy. As you can see in his thing, it says that he's won the tag team. It says tag crowd. I've never noticed that. It's probably said that for a while, too. It says that they've won he teamed with Mito Miwa, and they won the Elite Tag Series as well as two-time Glory Tag Crown holders. Now, I know he and Noriyori Sanda are a tag team, and that's why I signed them. And basically, I signed them, and I signed Black Magic of Burning Hammer of the Wrestling Gods, just kind of as an interesting little feud there. Gonna have a little bit stronger of a tag team division. I have a couple of teams that are okay, but those are the two big teams that I was very interested in signing. So Akinori Kawakami obviously is a pretty good basics guy. He's pretty much everything except for he's not a big high flyer, but that's okay. American Elemental, obviously, if anyone was watching the draft thread, I actually traded for him because he was initially drafted by SWF Fan literally in the round where I was thinking, hey, I need to draft him next. And basically, I didn't get my shot. And he took American Elemental and Insane Machine, actually. And so he was basically going to use them as a tag team. And I did a little bit of bartering and stuff. SWF Fan and I actually have a working relationship in the game because we both have most of the good junior workers. So we kind of trade them between each other. But yeah, it's very interesting. I traded him for who I had was Jin Miyamoto. I believe that's how you say it, if I'm remembering the last name correctly. He's a pretty flashy guy. He's a little bit younger. I think he's like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years younger than American Elemental. But he's not quite as well-rounded. He's just as flashy and everything. He has good basics. He has very good safety. He actually has better safety and I believe consistency than American Elemental. But American Elemental was one of the guys once I lost Magnum, I really wanted to get him. And so I'm bringing him in as American Elemental. I'm not messing around with that Americana name. Never understood that, never been a big fan. So he's here. I have him in a little stable along with the other foreign guys in my promotion right now. I'll go over all that later, though. Avalanche Takano, I believe he was basically one of my last picks, because I had initially signed Orange Suchi, but he was signed by literally everybody else, and he's good, and he's got good star quality and everything, and good future projections usually, but I didn't want a guy that was in both the other promotions. I noticed Avalanche he's only been in the business for 2 years. He's got a good future pretty much in every game that I ever use him. And I don't know how many games I've had him pop up as an MBT, next big thing. But there have been many. And so I signed him. He's pretty raw still at this point, but I'd like to think that he can grow. Obviously, I don't have him underwritten, although I believe I offered him a contract. I've got this game started up, and I'm actually, I already started a developmental territory as well. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and see if he wants to sign to go down there for a little bit. Nope, he does not. So I'll just sign him to a written, because I don't even care. And if he doesn't like it, because he won't sign a developmental contract, I just went ahead and tried that. That did not work. But, so yeah, he's raw at this point, but he will definitely grow. Burning Exile. This is a guy I was not so certain about drafting. Now, I remembered in the former games that he and the great Hasato had a tag team called Back in Black. At least I think I'm remembering that correctly. I had TEW, I think 08 or 2010, but I've long since lost that game due to many computer crashes, and I had 13, so I never had to actually go back and get that one. So I thought that they had a tag team set up. I didn't actually go back and look. I probably should have. But, oh well, he's a decent guy. He's not terrible. He's kind of a dick backstage, but oh well, that happens. But he's good, and so I signed him basically solely on the fact that he's got that tag team with Hasato, which he doesn't, but that's okay. So I basically have he and the great Hasato in a stable along with Hijiri, also known as Tsuneo Yanagamoto, who's a young guy, basically just so that he can be around some veterans in quite a few matches. They're going to be basically feuding with another team for the six-man tag titles. But yeah, that's why I signed him. If he acts up, he's 39, so he might as well be booted. Only guys I have on time decline for this game are Rhino, Umaga, and I believe Reaver. Which Reaver I was kind of upset about because that kind of sucks because he's kind of a guy that I was having big hopes for, but that's okay. So Commander Kawagishi, obviously, as you can see there on my roster screen, I have he and Shinpei Hiroshi of Massive Thunder. That was the big tag team that I really wanted. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I had asked to trade somebody, and they showed interest in... Oh, that's right, it was SWF. He had showed interest in trading Massive Thunder for Insane Machine and American Elemental, and I didn't want to do that. So I kept them. Obviously, Commander's always been probably my favorite young guy. Now, the thing that sucks about that is he literally never shows up in my next big thing ever. He never shows up there. I don't know if... I don't know. It's just one of those things, especially with how this game works. I don't think I've ever seen him show up as the next big thing. I have seen Shinpei show up just about every single game as the next big thing, but that's okay. So obviously that's my young, up-and-coming tag team. I got them locked down for a couple years. That works for me. So I have big hopes for them as well, of course. One of my big guys for the future, Ian Miyamoto. He is obviously from PGHW. I'm assuming anyone watching this video knows the Seaverse pretty well. So you'll know who he is. And obviously you can see in his bio that he brought up through SciShow and everything. And he was doing very well. He's always had really good stats. And it's always kind of bewildered me that he wasn't pushed very quickly in PGHW. But I mean, it happens. He's only 29, so... It's just, I don't know, it's interesting to see. But he's got the big kicker about him is he looks like a star, but he's only got like a 61 in star quality. So I kind of have him moving up in weight right now to see if maybe that will increase. Hopefully. And I know in this one that actually does increase. And if it does, I can obviously push him a little bit more extensively. Other than that, I don't know how useful he'll really be in the long run. But for now, he's definitely good for my mid card. I don't really have any plans for him in terms of feuds right now, but he's somebody that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on very closely. Of course, Elemental 3. I don't really know what to say about this guy. He's one of the big juniors that I've signed. I've never actually gotten to really play with him a whole lot because I've played as Burning Hammer of the Wrestling Gods a few times, not a lot. But honestly, I really wanted this guy, and I didn't so much. I don't know. I kind of wanted him, but I really wanted Sensational Dragon. So I signed Sensational Dragon, and I really wanted both of them to feud with, guess who? Magnum Kobe. So the thing that kind of sucks about this, the lighter guys on my rosters, a lot of them you could just go into Burning Hammer of the Wrestling Gods and play as them. Obviously now that's under a different product, so I don't know how much that will affect it. He seems like he's coming along pretty nicely. He's got good star quality and everything, and he's very technical, considering the junior style that he does possess. He's 28, so he's somebody I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on as well. Maybe I'll see if I can find a different alt for that. So I like that, but I don't know. I'm not too fond of that render, I guess. It's alright, but it could be better for somebody that's supposed to be like the third incarnation of the Elemental character, who's such a legendary character in Japan from anything you ever read from the Seaverse universe. Funakoshi. Obviously, anybody who plays in the littler promotions over in Japan, you know who this guy is. He fights for BCG. He's been the world champion a couple of times at this point, I'm sure. I believe I don't know if they have a tournament. They do have a tournament, and he's won it a few times. He's pretty good. He only got a 70 in star quality, which is understandable for a big star in a lighter promotion. But the same thing that's kind of going on with Miyamoto, I don't know how much I can really push him just yet, or in the long run, because he doesn't really have a lot of charisma either. But I don't know, he's a good guy. He's really is. He's a good worker. So I think that basically I'm hoping, I haven't played as a performance over pop promotion in a while. Usually it's equal. And for this one I kind of left that in. And so it'll be interesting to see who really breaks out of the pack. And the only thing that I'm really worried about is national battles and stuff. But I checked, and I have the best overall start for the national battles in terms of my guys, like the rating. I'm only beating SWF Fan by like a little bit, but most of his workers are a little bit over 35 that are getting him any points, so I don't really know. I don't know. I'm not too worried because most of my guys are in their 30s, low to mid 30s, and a couple in their 20s, I believe, that are ranking out that rating for me. But I don't know. Don't quote me on that if you ever look at the data or ever try and play it yourself. Hironobu Kobayashi, who is I actually have he and Funakoshi in tag team right now, seeing what I can do with that. I don't know if it's really going to stick, but, you know, Kobayashi's a little bit more raw, for sure. He's got more star quality than the other, and he's got more charisma. So, basically, he's a guy that you can really cling to for the future as long as you can build him up right. And he's just a big dude. I mean, he looks monstrous. He's the total package as long as you can build him right. So he's somebody I'm very interested to see what I can do with. Hijiri, also known as Tsuneyoya Nagamoto of Exodus fame. He's won their Grand Prix, I think he won it 2 years in a row, I think is what it was. And he's undoubtedly probably the best worker on the Exodus roster, in my opinion, at least, just considering how quickly he's risen. He's only 27, and he's definitely better than any of the other main eventers there, because mainly they're older guys. They're a little bit over the hill. So he's really looked very good. The thing that's really terrible about him playing in Exodus is he's about the only guy that's not loyal. So he gets stolen quite a bit of the time unless you rise very quickly, which is kind of hard to do as Exodus because they're just, I don't know, it's hard to build a company like that very quickly. With a lot of loyal roster, he's somebody that's very pivotal, and sometimes he goes. But here, got him locked down to a written contract very, very early. That was very intentional. He's somebody that I have high hopes for. I think he's actually on my MBT list for this. I'll go ahead and I'll look through that stuff later too. But Hijo del Relámpago. Yeah, I don't speak Spanish at all. I'm sorry. I looked it up and it means lightning. I never would have guessed by the fact that his mask has lightning on it. So he's I was scrolling, seeing what kind of high flyers were really left at the time that I drafted him. I think he actually made it past the written rounds, and I actually went back and signed him to a written contract. He's originally from Mexico, obviously, and I remember seeing him in the few games that I played in Mexico, and he's just an interesting character. Apparently, he went over to Burning Hammer in 2015 and actually got very over. He's at the 40s, which is good for the mid-card. I don't necessarily expect to be pushing him in the main event now or really ever, necessarily. I mean, he's 28. Anything can happen. But he doesn't really have that brawling. He doesn't really have pure Razu. But it's interesting. He's an interesting character to me. He's got good flashiness and aerial. And so basically I have him teaming with Phenomenal E, who would normally obviously be teaming with Black Eagle or American Optimus, whatever you know him as. But he got signed by a different promotion. Probably, I'm in an alliance, so I don't know if I can maybe trade for him too sometime, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. But he's somebody I was very interested in seeing how he turns out. Here we go with Hiroaki Nakasawa, who is obviously Burning Hammer guy. Yeah, he's basically the guy that they pushed as their ace when the Inspire thing happened years and years ago. And he's a good guy. He's got good basics. He's got good psych. Not great psych, good psych. That's kind of the issue with a lot of the promotions in this game. They don't have guys with really, really good psych, which is a pivotal thing for getting good matchups, but that's okay. You can still make it happen. But he's a good guy. I really like him. He's 38, so I'm always really concerned to sign guys that are like that. But I signed him knowing that he had that 87 pop, which I needed. He had 87 star quality, which I needed just for the national battles. I had the national battles in mind for quite a bit of this. So he was really the second big heavyweight signing that I made. And I have high hopes for him in the next couple years. I don't think he's going to be around forever at his age. But if I can get some use out of him and get some other guys over, even at his expense, I'll be very happy with that. I believe I set him to be the owner of the promotion as well for the AI. I'm actually going to do a watcher game and see how Nova does. Very interested to see how that goes. Because I think that WWU might have some big guys for the future that I don't necessarily have right now. I have to build them a little bit more strategically, and I'm wondering if the AI can do that as well. Considering I have him as owner, he's got decent owner stats, and then I have Naizen Yuboshida, who's actually got very good Booker stats. He's not got the best reputation, but he's got very good stats. He's got 86 in booking, so that's very cool. Inihiro Yoshizawa. Okay, had to figure that one out for a second. Obviously, anybody who was following my dynasty there for a little bit for WEXXV, that's kind of at a standstill at the moment, to be completely honest. I just got really into the game and kept going and didn't really have time to continue that. But this is Spirit of the Lizard, and he's one half of the Apocalypse Riders with Noritoshi Miura. They have 100 experience. They're only 29. So I have both of them locked down to a written contract just to see exactly what I can do with them. Now, as a pop standing, they're kind of below the rest of my roster, but that's okay. You know, they're just there for the tag team. Generally, one of them will break out, and the other one will kind of sit in wherever once the other one starts to really get over, but that's okay. So, Kozu Kawashima. Now, this guy, I can't say that I've ever actually played as him. I was stat looking. I was like, hey, he's got good stats. You can ask anybody. I was going back and forth between whether or not I should sign him or Magnum. I didn't want to take the risk of signing Magnum and not getting somebody with good star quality. So as I said, I tried to barter for Magnum, and I lost. And what sucks is I feel like if I would have chosen Magnum, that he would have stayed available, Kozu would have, because I know now Macbeth, or whatever his name was, did not want him so much. So I made the mistake of signing him instead of Magnum. So he's somebody who I'm definitely interested to see how I can work with. He's my biggest star. He's my franchise player. He's got 86, I believe, in pop. So that shouldn't be too hard to build up. He's got decent charisma, star quality, all that. He's not necessarily the best in acting, but who cares? That doesn't matter. But he's got good stats. He's got 83 and 80 in psych. So, you know, I don't think there's a lack of things for me to do with him. But, like I said, I don't really have a lot of experience with him. Masaru Ugaki, who's 30. He's got 92 star quality. That's why I signed him. 87 basics and 80 psychology and good consistency. That's all I saw with this guy. And I was like, man, I should probably sign him up. He's got 79 overness. He's a big help to my promotion, no doubt. I think he's in a tag team, but I don't have his partner. That's right, I don't have his partner, but I could sign him because I'm pretty sure he's still available. I might just do that. Mitsuhide Muro, this is my announcer. He's the youngest of the Burning Hammer of the Wrestling Gods team, which I find funny. The announcer for Burning Hammer, who's 51 and has got the best announcing, did not get signed either. So I was interested to see that. But I believe Isu and, I don't remember his name. I don't remember the color commentator from WLW. They got signed to, I believe, WWU. And I don't know, I think they're like 50 and something, so I thought that was a little bit strange, but more power to them. This is Naizen Yuboshida. He's obviously an 18-year-old. He's a color / manager / personality, whatever. He is also signed to be the booker of my company for the AI. He's a good guy. I mean, he's extremely young. He's very raw. And I believe he's a guy that kind of becomes loyal. He's a good positive influence backstage. What else can you ask for? Noritoshi Miura, the other half of the Apocalypse Riders, 28. He's not necessarily as finely tuned as his partner, but I always like him more. I don't know why. Probably because he's not a negative influence like his partner is backstage. And I'm just kind of a sucker for that. But he's good, so that's the other half. Obviously, I mean, I think he's the same popularity, but his lack of star quality as compared to his partner puts him at enhancement talent, as his partner is set at, I believe, lower mid-carder by auto push. Noriyori Sanda. Now, as I said earlier, he's in a tag team with Akinori. I did not realize that he was 37. I mean, that's not too bad, though. I can do something with him. I believe Akinori's like 34. So Akinori's kind of got a little more upside than he does, necessarily. But they're both very good in the ring. Oh, Noriyori is actually a decent high flyer, too. Look at that. I didn't even notice that. But he's good. He's interesting. He's got good charisma, star quality, all that. I don't think he'll necessarily main event, especially at his age. I think it would be hard to get him to that level, but he's very good. I like him. You know, I've never really played a whole lot in Japan in terms of the heavyweights, but I'll see what I can do with him. Obviously, I'm going to use him more as a tag team capacity. Optimus. This guy was originally going to be my head booker. Now, in my last fantasy draft, the one before this where I played as Nova originally, Optimus was my owner, I believe. And he seemed like he would have been a wise decision to do that with, but I really wasn't too worried about it because with the wide range, I just wanted a good road agent, and so I stuck him as that. Nisen was available. I needed a color commentator. He had better booking stats, so I just did it. So for this one, I just set him as my user avatar, and just kind of him doing whatever. And I mean, he's a good guy backstage. I believe he's a positive influence for if I was to decide to use somebody else. But he's probably a pretty expensive worker in terms of his pop and everything. I don't know what his popularity set at. Oh, he's only like 64. He's been retired for a few years. But yeah, he's one of the best guys in the game. And look, his stats are still pretty tuned up. So if I was to actually want to put him in a match, I probably could. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. He's 57. But if I wanted to, I could. So, what's wrong with that? But Phenomenal E, this guy is a Canadian, and he is signed to Burning Hammer in the Seaverse. He is teaming with American Optimus. He's very good, flashy. He's very flashy. He's got good basics. He's got good psych. He's not necessarily going to rise to the top of the promotion. I wonder if I could actually make him a little bit bigger. Nope, he doesn't want to go up from small. Whatever, dude. But he's got okay tech, and he's got not so great brawling, but that's okay. This is Reaver, obviously formerly known as Hell Monkey for anybody that follows the Seaverse. Basics 86, Psych 72. Now he is on time decline. And I was very upset to see that because as you see his stats are pretty well rounded, especially his Pure Rezu as compared to everything else. He would have been a good junior to keep things mixed up with. Now he's not like going to retire like right now or anything, but he's definitely only got a few more years left in him. So I'm going to have to use him at a pretty limited capacity. A lot of six-man tag matches, not as much one-on-one action as I would have hoped for him, but that's okay. He's good. He's kind of older, so he's not necessarily going to main event anymore, like I might have had hopes for, but that's okay. He's got decent star quality, and he's not very charismatic entertainer kind of guy, but he's a good all-around worker, so I'm sure I'll never be short of uses for him. This is the other guy who is on time decline, and that's Rhino Umaga, of course, from the tag team with the guy that's right below him, Samoan Machine, who I'm more interested in talking about. He's, I believe, his cousin is what it is. Yeah, he's his cousin from the Samoan family, and I believe he's Toma's brother. Yes, he's Toma's brother. And so he's the more interesting of the two in terms of stats for Japan. As you can see, his Pure Rezu is higher. His tech skills are better. He's just all around better than his cousin Rhino. Rhino is menacing. He's got like a 92 in menace, I believe. I think it might be tougher too. No, he's not even tougher. But Samoan Machine is basically, he can thrive as a singles guy. Rhino, I don't think so much could. At least not in this promotion. I'm sure somewhere he could, but not here. So he's the one I was more interested in signing, but once I saw that my tag team division was rounding out pretty well, I figured I'd sign both of them just to give Samoan Machine something to do until Rhino retires, which, as I said, he's in time decline, so that shouldn't be too long. CG Jimbo, one of the guys I signed literally thinking of the future. That was it. He's 27. He's already at like 71 pop, 72. So he's somebody who I know is going to rise to the top of my promotion once people retire. which it still might be a little while before some of those guys retire. But as I said, thinking of the AI, I just want to see my promotion survive and thrive and do whatever. So he's somebody who will be very pivotal for that. Yeah, he's good all-rounder. He's good technical, good brawling. He's okay flyer, but his basics and psych can go up some. His safety can go up some. You know, all that can go up. He's still pretty raw at this point. He's only 7-year pro. But he's got the SQ of 85, which is very good. One of my top draft picks, I believe number 2 draft pick, if I remember correctly, Sensational Dragon. He's arguably one of the better high flyers in the game. He's got stamina of 96, tech of 74, aerials very good, and I believe pretty much he's got the best basics and psychology out of any junior in the world right now. So he's a very pivotal person for my roster. He's got good psych. He's got good charisma. He's a main eventer even despite his size. Because for my main event, I'm basically just going to kind of do everybody. That's why I call it the Universal title and not like the Heavyweight Championship. Because it's not going to be like that. My mid card has one for above middleweight and one below middleweight, I believe, in terms of mid card titles. So that will be a little bit separated on the mid card. But when it comes to the main event, if you're the best, you're the best. I'm not going to separate that just for the sake of doing it because it just means I need a bigger roster and there's no point for that. But he's really, really good. He'll probably be my top guy a couple of times. Shinpei Hiroshi, the other half, the brawler half of Massive Thunder. I believe he's got MBTE possibilities for this game, which is very cool. Tadakuni Toshisai, probably the best entertainer that I have. He's got very good entertainment skills for somebody in Japan especially, which makes it kind of strange that he's been with Burning Hammer, because he's not really the greatest in-ring guy. Like, he's decent. He's got 82 in basics and 74 psych, but he's 33. So for somebody that's been main eventing there, it seems like he might be a little bit better than that. He's flabby heavyweight, so I might actually, I don't know, I might give him a month or two, see if maybe he gets in a little bit better shape, or maybe I'll drop him in weight. But I don't want him to lose any star quality, because he's pretty good for my rating right now. And so he's not necessarily the most well-rounded, so I'm probably not going to necessarily give him my singles title and let him run with it. Not just yet, at least, but unless he starts getting really over and starts advancing very well. He's very good. I believe his pop's in the 70s. 76, yep. And he's a guy who I can kind of build around. I have him in a stable where he's the leader, along with another big heavyweight, and I believe Massive Thunder is in as well. So that's an interesting stable. They call him the Shocker, so I called the stable Electric. Tahaji Kano of WEXXV fame. He's a good guy. I actually signed he and Zeshin and Tatsukichi Shaichairobe. Shaichairobe, I never know how to say that. But, and they're in the Demolition Crew stable for guys that are just big. I did not realize that SWF fans signed him. I literally totally overlooked it. Kind of an interesting signing for his type of promotion, but that's okay. But we're in a working relationship. So I signed all the others to written contracts, but I can't sign him to a written contract. So that'll be interesting. I think I might give it a few days because they might honestly release him. And, I don't know. They might. But he's okay. I don't really think that he's going to be a main eventer or anything, but somebody that's definitely good for my mid-card and six-man tag title and whatnot. So I'll definitely keep him around. He's very useful. He's got star quality of 78, so you can't really count him out. He's definitely somebody who you could build around if he grows well enough. The Uncontrollable, Tatsukichi Shichirobe, brawler from Japan, who, if you've been following the Seaverse for a while, was also in Dave for a short time. He's very interesting. He was never very good, and now he's kind of okay. Now he can hold his own at least. He's not necessarily the most finely tuned in terms of technical and flying, but he's got decent skills. And that's the thing that I didn't mention about Tahaiji. He's got decent technical skills for a guy that's especially supposed to be such a hardcore guy. That's basically why I like to sign him a lot. But Tatsukichi is not really as finely tuned as the rest of them, but he's got a 68 star quality and 75 in menace. He's not bad. If he builds well enough, he's 32, so he's still got a couple years where he can be useful. He's not really a negative influence. I don't know, there's just a lot I can do with him still, I think. And so he's somebody that I'm very interested in and hope that he finds success. The Great Hisato, as I mentioned earlier, he's signed basically to help out Hijiri. He and Burning Exile will also be tearing it up in the tag team division. And basically as the veteran tag team, especially of juniors, so they're both a little bit different than the big heavyweights that I have that are probably going to dominate my tag division. Toshiharu Hayobanshi of GCG fame. He's 38. One of the more risky signings I have. He's just older, and he's not as over. He's like 70. Yeah, 70 overness because he's from GCG. Now, I was going to sign Hiroyasu Gakusha, but he was taken, so I figured I'd take him. He's at 92 in star quality, so, there's no real downside. They always say that he's a little bit overshadowed by Hiroyasu. I don't really think so. I think that they're very even. I think that Gakusha is a little bit more well-rounded, but there's nothing wrong with Hayobanshi. There's nothing wrong with him at all. He's got good charisma. He's got great star quality. He's got good basics. Not necessarily the greatest in psych, but I don't think Gakusha is either. His brawling is top-notch. He's more of a brawler than Puroresu, which is very interesting to me, especially in Japan, as opposed to being a Puroresu guy over brawling. He likes to brawl, which I have no problem with that. I'll definitely find use for him. He is basically the muscle, along with Tadakuni Toshisai in Electric. So it's them, Commander Kawagishi, and Shinpei, and I believe Avalanche Takano. This is my referee, as I so affectionately called him, the referee with shades, because I could not think of his name when I actually drafted him. I believe that's how the contract mishap happened. He's my referee, Toshimichi Tsurimi. He's only 30, but he's already got decent refereeing. He's not great. He's got 64, so he can grow. If he flops, I'll sign a different guy. That's not a big deal. But he's the ref from Exodus, and I think he's a good influence, and that's why I signed him. Yeah, he's positive influence. Venom, obviously from the tag team division of Burning Hammer of the Wrestling Gods, the junior tag team division. Because I always hate the tag team division in Burning Hammer. It's always a bunch of old guys. That's why I make it such a point to make my tag team division good and interesting. Venom is 35. I guess I didn't really realize he was that old. But he, like I said, he's just there for the tag team division. So he's got decent basics and stuff like that. And he's not necessarily the greatest high flyer, but he's okay at technical too. So his tag team partner is Yoshi. I'll just go with it to him right now. He's a little bit more flashy of the two. He's good. He's 36 too. So he's a very interesting guy. He was trained, I believe, or worked for North of the Border Pro Wrestling. I remember that. And so he's a little bit more finely tuned, I think. I think he's more athletic, too. No, they're both 70 athletic. Venom's got a little bit more stamina. Yoshi's got maybe star quality? Yeah, Yoshi's got a little bit of star quality on him. But as I said, they're both in their mid-30s, so they could really just kind of be there and not really do a whole lot, but that's okay. Yasuhiko Taira, 37. Definitely one of the more underrated guys. He's 37 though, which is unfortunate. But I signed him for the tag team with Black Magic, which is the next guy, Yasunobu Masuno. He got star quality of 86. So if I can do something with him, I will. Obviously, his chain wrestling and tech in general and flashiness is not really up to par with his brawling, which he's really not the greatest in either. But he's a good talent. I signed him for the tag team with Yasunobu. I was gonna sign Tadayuki Kikawa because he went quite a while in the draft, and then I believe he got drafted to like Mexico or something like that. So I mean, I don't know exactly what he's been doing. But if he ever comes available, I will sign him. No doubt about that. But Yasuhiko Taira, his tag team partner, and probably the better of the two, Yasunobu Masuno, in terms of pretty much everything except for psychology, from what I can see. Oh, and I guess Yasuhiko's a little bit better in selling, too, and power. But Masuno's a good guy. Obviously, he's got that cool-looking render. Yasuhiko didn't really have any re-renders, so I didn't really find any. But he's a little bit more... He's not as star quality based, but he's 33. So basically, if Yasuhiko goes down, there's something I can do with Yasunobu because he's still going to be... He's going to be in his mid-30s when he retires. When his partner retires. So it'll be interesting to see if he can thrive as a singles guy because he's going to have to get a little bit better. As long as his basics and psych can get better, I would push him right now. I don't even care. I would. He's a good guy for the future, in my opinion. He's got good psych and, or not psych, good safety and consistency and all that. So he's somebody I'd very much like to push if I get the chance. Obviously, Black Magic is going to be probably the focus of my tag team division for now. Them versus Kwakami and Sanda. Obviously, Yoshi, we went over him. And my very last active talent, Zeshin Makioka, also of WEXXV fame. He is the last member of Demolition Crew. He is pretty much a well-rounded guy. He's obviously mainly based in brawling, but he's got decent flash, he's got decent chain. He got signed by Macbeth, too. So I can sign him to a written contract. That's what I'm doing right now. Because I want him all to myself. I wanted to sign him to a written contract, but I didn't want to lose out on the Apocalypse Riders, although I don't think they were on anybody else's radar. I was just being paranoid. But he starts out with very good basic and psych, especially for a guy that's only 29. He doesn't have a lot of star quality. I could probably drop him and wait and make him a junior, honestly. No, he's not interested in that, so I'll give him a little while. But he's somebody who I have hopes for. I always do. He's one of my favorite people to play with in this game. So that's my roster right there. I'll go ahead and show you my belts. I'm honestly going to make 2 different videos because I feel like this one's going to be really, really long. Here are my title belts. We've got the 6-man tag, which is going to be a floating title, which basically means anybody can go for it. I noticed that floating is not, it's not limited in terms of prestige, which is good, which is the way that a floating title should be, in my opinion. That's just a 6-man tag title. I mean, nothing really special to talk about there. Nova Dynamic Duo, that's my tag team title. I have that set to floating as well, obviously, because my 2 big tag teams, 2 of them are main eventers, so I'll see what I can do there. If it starts to dwindle, it starts to dwindle eventually, but that'll happen, But Dynamic Duo, that's my tag team title. The Nova Elite Duo Grand Prix, that's my tag team tournament for main eventers exclusively, basically. And that's going to be a tournament in every January, so I will be booking that very soon. The Elite Heavyweight Grand Prix, obviously, my Heavyweight Grand Prix, which happens in July. It's a big deal. Intercontinental is my mid-card for... See, there's not really any limit. I probably should set that to be over middleweight, just to separate my 2 mid-card belts, but I'm not too worried about it at the moment. Nova Junior Heavyweight Grand Prix. Obviously, my Junior Heavyweight Grand Prix, where I'm going to borrow from Real Japan Wrestling SWF Fans Promotion and get guys like Emerald Angel and who's the other big guy that he signed that I wanted? He's got like Angry Gilmore and stuff like that, but this is maximum lightweight, so he's not really going to help me there. But he's got a couple of guys that I'm interested in signing. So I'll basically borrow from them, and I'll borrow from a few of the promotions in my alliance. Shooting Star is my maximum lightweight mid-card title, and the Universal is the big one. This is my alliance that I initially reached out for with these other guys. Unscrewed, which is New England Wrestling, Mark W., which is Project X Wrestling, and Fusion Wrestling, which is owned by Edviz, I believe. Basically, I'm looking at their stuff right now, but new is basically, I don't know what the product is. It doesn't really say. Oh, traditional and mainstream, and then nothing else. So basically, family friendly. I'm assuming their main star is Tommy Cornell. That was their top draft pick. Edviz is sports entertainment as well in Canada. His is in Canada. But his main is, or his key feature is mainstream and not traditional like the others. And then Project X Wrestling is completely different. It's cult and modern key feature, with medium being mainstream. So they're a little bit more my style in terms of a promotion, compared to mine, anyways, I would say. So that's an interesting little thing. Those are the guys I'm going to be borrowing from. Obviously, I have the alliance, or not alliance, but working relationship with the one of the other Japanese promotions, Real Japan Wrestling. And these are the companies and whatnot. We got Fusion. That's one of the promotions I'm in the thing with. I'll just go rosters. So there you go. You see them. He's got some big stars over there. Heartland Championship Wrestling, which is Wrestling Fan. He was, I don't even remember what his promotion really was, but oh, he's got Jack Bruce. So that's an interesting guy to build around. He's got then he signed people like Fearless Blue and Lucas Danger. I was like, okay, interesting. Along with Steve Flash. Such an interesting roster. But he's got Steven Parker. I'll give him credit for that. He got Steven Parker very early. I was like, wow, interesting picks. And he's got Maddie Faith. So whatever exactly he wants to do with them, he can do, I guess. Mark Dubois is obviously back from hiatus being there. And he's got like Johnny Bloodstone and stuff. Fusion does. And Nikki Champion are probably his two. Oh, Joey Minnesota too, obviously. Those are the two biggest guys that he's probably got that I'm very interested in stealing. Hollywood, well, not stealing, but borrowing. Hollywood Champion, or Hollywood Wrestling Company, excuse me, owned by Big Magic. Still a little confused by that. Just in terms of an AI standpoint. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. It says that he's got the #1 promotion in the world, so he must have had some guys from kind of all over the place. Or just guys that are well-rounded. Oh, he got Pablo Rodriguez, that's why. Because Pablo's good in Mexico. So it says he's #1. I don't really get how those rankings work anymore. I mean, I get it. They're international based. But he's got some big stars, but they're all kind of older, except for Valiant and I believe Rocky. I don't remember how old Rocky is, 32. So he's got an interesting little roster there. I don't really know what else to say about it because he's just got a bunch of good guys there. They're kind of older though. Firestar, New Age Wrestling Federation. Ironic because most of the guys are kind of older. Um, he's got Steve DeColt, Steve Freely, Rogue, Ricky, and Jack. So he's got all the Colts probably except for Alex, who retired early. He's the other promotion in Japan, or not Japan, Canada. Excuse me. Owned by Emma Chase, Booker, Steve DeColt. That's new. Unscrewed's promotion with Tommy Cornell and Ricky, Dale Johnson, Aaron Andrews. Main stars. Interesting little roster there. I like it. Third, I believe probably first in, well, except for Hollywood Wrestling Company, probably first besides them in America. Like their popularity is, their popularity is 77. Interesting. That's very interesting. That's my development company. I was like, wait, did somebody not pick some stuff? Yeah, that's my developmental company that I made. Project X, this is the other promotion in my alliance. They've got guys like Wolf Hawkins and Sami Bach. Interesting. You know, they're two top guys, and then the rest of their roster, I think, is pretty much whoever they wanted, which is interesting. He's got Koji Kohima over there, which I thought was interesting, which means he probably has Koki, too. Although I don't see Koki. Interesting. But they're obviously one of the other promotions in there with me. They've got Guide and I believe both the Bumpfuls. Yes, they do. They have both the Bumpfuls. And they have Black Eagle, so I can trade for Black Eagle. I was talking about that earlier. Real Japan Pro Wrestling, I have a working relationship with them. Obviously, that's SWF's fans promotion. They've got Yoshi Mushishibo, Buddy Garner, and Iseko Hoshino as their top three. All those guys are over 40. So, basically, in the long run, I don't really see them being too much of a big deal. Just because once those guys are done, they're done. Granted, they're all very good, and I'm going to have a while to compete with them. I don't think that those three guys are necessarily going to keep the promotion on the top. We've got Emerald Angel. Obviously, he's the best high flyer in the game. Oh, and they've got Marihito. That's the other big guy that they have that I'm going to borrow probably for my tournaments. Marihito Masuko. So, those two guys are very interesting. Mystic Dragon as well. I believe he's got Black House over there. He's got Kansuki Kanda and Hayosuke Kokan as a tag team. He's got Jin Miyamoto, who I traded to him, as I said earlier. Obviously, Angry Gilmore was his top pick right there as King Gilmore. He's in his own little alliance over there, World Star Alliance, with I think M Hero and a couple other people. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Summit Wrestling System. That's, I don't know what kind of promotion they're running. I didn't realize they were in Canada. So they are in Canada. They're both in Quebec. Okay, so Summit Wrestling System. Traditional and modern are heavy features, but the main feature is cult. So they don't have mainstream at all. Medium features are hardcore and Daredevil. It's a really weird product. I'm honestly kind of confused about that. I mean, good for them. That's interesting. It's more original than what I came up with. But their top stars are Remo, because they're in Canada. So Remo, Tim Westybrook is up there, Eddie Peak is up there, Joshua Taylor. Joshua Taylor is a very good signing for a promotion like that. He's not necessarily like the most flashy, but he is always one for the future. He's in his 30s, I think. Probably 30, exactly. 33. But because they're in Japan, they also got Shooter Sean Dealey and Eddie. So that's a very interesting roster. I really like that promotion. They've got Shinjin Miyazaki, who I believe took some time in, north of the border. That's right. He was there for a little while. So he's got a little bit of overness over there. So yeah, that's interesting. Don't judge a book by its cover, I suppose, because that looks like a very interesting promotion. He's got Davis Wayne. He's got him on written, too, so that's a very good signing. That's somebody to have for the future, especially in a promotion like that. He's very well-rounded. So that's a very interesting promotion. I'm going to have to keep my eye on them. That's Cody V2. His promotion. That's the women promotion. I'm not even going to go over that because it's just not to sound like sexist or anything, but that's all the women. I was going to have a women's division until he signed Devil Karubi, and I was like, I'm just not even going to worry about it anymore, and I just kind of gave up. So that's just all the women. Basically, I don't think anyone else has a single woman on the roster, so that's basically where all the women are going to go to wrestle. Welsh Valley Wrestling, M Heroes promotion. They've got a bunch of people over there. Basically, everybody big in England. He also signed a couple of Japanese guys, much to my chagrin, because I wasn't necessarily looking for him to. Love M Hero, though. He's a great guy. But he signed like Bison Yano, and I was like, man, because I don't care about Brute Kikuchi, but I wanted Bison Yano, because he is a very good guy for the future. Oh, and the other guy that he signed that I really wanted was Rakuman Matsushita. I was like, wow. That's the one that hurt me. I really wanted him badly because he's got 88 star quality. And so he's just somebody that you can build around. I think he's underwritten too, so I can't even steal him. Nope. So he's underwritten. So he's got a big lad division going on over there or something. I don't know. It's like the opposite of a junior division, I'd imagine. This is World Wrestling Union. The my stiffest competition, in my opinion, in Japan. Pride Koiso, and obviously, I think Pride's pretty old. He's like 38 or 39. Yeah, he's 39. So, and then Isaku Kunamasu, he's like 44 or something like that. Kenoji Hori is 34. So he's younger, but he doesn't have nearly the star quality that's really going to make me worried. He really doesn't. He doesn't have the charisma. Now, Magnum Kobe does. And he's somebody who worries me. That's where he went. And that was his top pick. And when I asked him, he said, and I quote, I wanted one of the junior guys because I figured they're all going to be gone. And so he took the absolute, probably best one and my favorite. And he took him with his first pick. He's got star quality at 98. It was a big blow. I was like, man, that really, really sucks. He's got Raymond Diaz and Hiroyasu Gakusha. He's got a very good roster. He's got Razan. The people that really made me mad that he ended up signing Munamitsu Senmatsu, literally the pick that I was going to pick him. He got Masu Kurata. Now, that's not a big deal. He signed him pretty early, too. I guess he wanted him to. I don't know exactly what those guys are going to do in his promotion. Like Magnum, I think will do a little bit. But, I really don't know what he's going to accomplish. Razan is a good guy. He's 93 star quality to start off. He's a very interesting guy. I really like him. He was somebody. Razan, Bulldozer, and Magnum. Oh, I was going to sign Takayuki 2002. And I was going to sign Suki. So he ended up with a couple guys that I really wanted. Quite a few, actually. But that was to be expected. So he's got a couple of guys that I really, really, really wanted. But that's okay. And I'm not particularly worried. I mean, he's got like Chojiro and stuff for the future, but their psych and stuff isn't really built up yet. Their star quality is okay. It's not great. Obviously, a couple of guys on his lower card do have the star quality, but with the way the AI works, I don't know if they'll necessarily stay around for that long, especially if they don't fit his type of promotion. And then this is Wrestling Heroes of America. Who was that picked by? Jaded. Yeah, Jaded picked like Rich Money and Brian Vesey and Sean McFly. That's one hell of a trio right there. That is a really good trio. And he's got Human Arsenal and stuff rounding out the roster. And Kirk Jameson and Spencer Spade. That's an interesting promotion. He's got some pretty good picks on that. And Remy Honeyman. That's a very interesting pick there. Oh, and James Justice and all them. But, whatever. But he's got a good roster there. And hey, that's me. As you can see my whole roster here, you can see... I guess he just kind of set my style to say that, which is fine. I don't really care. But I'm based in Hokkaido, or Hokkaido, whatever. The others are in Kanto and Kinki, so I actually chose the lesser of the three instead of being right in the same area. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but I don't think it will. I think I'll be alright. But that's the roster and stuff. I'll go ahead and I'll book a show, and I'll post a video for that as well. I don't think there's really anything else that I can show you right offhand here. Oh, here's the alliances. I don't think I actually know their alliance yet. Yeah, it's Derek B, SWF Fan, M Hero, and Jaded, and that they just have one from each of the regions. Excuse me. This is Canada, Fusion. This is America, and Japan. So that's gonna be interesting. But that is pretty much everything. Oh, I'll go over the creative meeting list before I end this one. Creative meeting. I got franchise players. Here they all are. Nobody really too shocking there. I mean, they're all 30, 33, 30, 38, 32. So my best guy is 32, and I think that he's going to be around for a while, so I'm very glad that I signed him, no doubt. Hijiri and Shinpei, no next big thing. Zeshin is a hot prospect, which is interesting. Oh, it says exceptional. Haha, that's a very good one. So, same with Taheji. That's nice. So that means that they're going to have, 90s in their basics in psychology. So the Demolition Crew is going to be the guys. Relampago. I don't know how to say that. I don't speak it very quick. But fantastic. So he's going to be pretty good too. Funakoshi is going to be exceptional. So maybe he will be a little bit better than I was thinking. My talkers, obviously Tadakuni is at top. And the other guys just kind of round out. I'm surprised they have 5 in that category, to be completely honest with you. Showstoppers, obviously Sensational Dragon, Kozu, Elemental. Great Hisato's on there. Interesting. Hijiri's on there. That's interesting, too. Ring Generals, Masaru is only 30, and he's the top guy. Hiroaki is 38, and he's the second guy. Sensational, Akinori, who's in the tag team division, and Kozu. So, interesting. Obviously, nobody's hot, nobody's cold. Great Hisato has been out of his element for 5 years, so he should be retiring soon, which isn't shocking. I mean, he's 43. Rhino Umaga is 37, so he's just beginning to go into decline. Same with Reaver, who's 37 as well. So it'll be a couple years before they really start to decline, but that means that I really can't push them extensively. So that's my roster and everything. I'll go ahead and I'll get this show ready. Oh shit. What did I do? What did I did? I need to learn how to do that without having to pause the video just to change that. But that's Nova. I hope you guys are interested. I'll just go ahead and I'll do the tag teams before I go, actually, and I'll just close it out from there. Obviously, tag teams: Apocalypse Riders, Back in Black, Black Enigma, Black Magic, Foreign Threat, Funakoshi and Kobayashi, Kwakami and Sanda, Massive Thunder, Samoan Destruction Incorporated, and Shiomi and Venom. So no real big surprises there. But that's Nova. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get ready to book this show and start a new video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be posting quite frequently about this, so I hope you guys like how it looks. Thank you.